almost in tune already. Hey folks, if you're new here to the channel, my name is David, and I've been playing mandolin for about 20 years now, but I've never owned or even really played a carbon fiber mandolin like this one here. I wasn't exactly sure what to expect. As mandolin players, we love nerding out about tone woods like Engelmann or Sitka and all the stuff that makes the mandolin have the tone that we want. I was a little bit nervous having a mandolin that doesn't really have much wood on it. What would it sound like? And we'll get into some comparisons later on in this video, but initially here, my first impressions are that I am very pleasantly surprised with how this thing sounds. Man, it just has so much projection and so much sustain too. Listen to that. It's still going. You know, there aren't a whole lot of carbon fiber mandolins being made these days, especially to a high standard. Seems like there's lots of options for guitars, but not so much for us mandolin players. So when I saw Close, a trusted carbon fiber guitar company, was starting to make these A-model mandolins, I actually pre-ordered one from them about a year ago. And at the time, I just went with their standard base tier, where I didn't get the extra carbon timber material that they advertise, or their custom nut width and string spacings, no pickup, anything like that. But even just the standard model here, I think looks pretty great. Looks even better in person here now that I have it. By the way, this video is not sponsored. Close did give me a discount for this mandolin, which was very kind of them, but these are all my opinions here. So this thing is made pretty much entirely out of carbon fiber, and the only piece of wood on it is the floating bridge here on the top. Pretty crazy, right? So this one has 20 frets along a 12-inch radius fretboard, which feels really nice on the left hand. We have this pretty sturdy Allen-style tailpiece. We have these kind of unconventional guitar-style tuners on the back that I wasn't too sure about at first, but they've turned out to be really smooth and accurate. And since I've gotten this in tune, it's stayed in tune so far, which is saying something for a mandolin. So for comparison, I've got this lower A5 with the same number of frets. You can see that these are pretty similar sizes, but one difference is the neck here, which I find interesting. This Close here doesn't have a traditional dovetail connection. It doesn't even have a truss rod, which is really interesting. So it allows for more playing room along the neck, which means that you can get up to those higher frets a lot easier with this thing. Something I've been really enjoying, actually. And even though this mandolin doesn't have a truss rod, Close says that they use a state-of-the-art CNC machine to level the frets and get just the right amount of relief up and down the fretboard, so you can keep the action super low. And I've definitely found that to be the case. In fact, this has been one of the easiest mandolins I've ever had to set up. I've bought, I think, 8 mandolins online now, and this has been by far the easiest. The bridge was already in the right place, the action was already at a really nice low level, and all I had to do was tune it up and I could play way up here. This thing feels just so light. I don't know if you can see on camera, but if you look in the F hole there, the thickness of the top is probably less than half the thickness of other mandolins that I've played, and yet it still feels very strong and sturdy. Especially the neck here. The neck feels very substantial, but not too thick. It has a nice shape that fits in your hand and feels very comfortable as you play. And this thing is really sturdy. You know, I think that's one of the big appeals for me of having a carbon fiber mandolin. Normal mandolins are pretty delicate wooden instruments, but the carbon fiber ones are supposed to be very durable. They even say on the Close website that you can leave your mandolin out in the car and out in the open even, and you don't have to worry about warping or cracking or even intonation issues, which is a huge thing for mandolin players. This thing is supposed to stay in tune even in temperature changes. I haven't had a chance to try that, but I can say even just playing it here, I haven't had to tune it once since I got it in tune, which is very unusual for me. I'm having to pinch myself. Is that true? Is that real? So at this point in the video, you're probably saying, it sounds great, but how does it compare to a normal wooden mandolin? So let me do some tests between this carbon fiber mandolin and my Apitius F5 mandolin over here, which is kind of my main axe these days. Obviously there's gonna be some differences, but for this test, I'll be using the same pick, a signature tone slabs pick. I'll be using the XS D'Addario coated strings on both, and I won't be using a tone guard on either. Here we go. Interesting, right? Let me know in the comments below what you think. As the player, I can definitely tell there's a lot more complexity coming from the sound of the wood, but still, this carbon fiber mandolin has a lot of depth and darkness to the tone, and especially on the A and E strings, it feels so open and easy to play. Obviously, there's gonna be a big difference in sound between a carbon fiber mandolin and a wooden mandolin just by nature, but different doesn't necessarily mean bad, and some of the differences on this mandolin I've been actually really enjoying. This thing just has so much sustain and so much volume, and the action is so low, I feel like I don't have to work hard to get a big sound with either hand. And I can see myself using this in certain situations where I might not want to use this beautiful F5 over here. Like, I probably would use this if I'm playing outside in extreme heat or cold, or if it's wet outside. That way I don't have to worry about it getting damaged. Also, if I'm flying somewhere, this would be really handy. You don't have to worry about checking or, even putting it in the overhead compartments with the flight jostling things around. Also, if you live in extreme conditions, if you're in a hot or cold climate, you could keep this out of its case year round and have it just sitting out as a visual reminder to pick up the mandolin and practice and get better. So that's a really cool thing, and I definitely recommend checking it out if it's something that you're interested in. I'm very excited to add it to my mandolin arsenal as well, so you'll be seeing more of this in the future. But thank you for watching, thank you for liking and subscribing. Check out Close, the link below if you're interested in these mandolins, and I'll see you again real soon.